Welcome back to the CineClub Podcast. This week is our Christmas special. I'm Jake. For Christmas this year, I'm asking for a camera.
Nice one. I'm Matthew, and I was gonna get a Ken doll action figure, but they've been sold out apparently.
Tragic,
so
that.
I can't get one of them now.
I'm Rhys. I don't know what I want for Christmas. I was asking for the Indiana Jones game, but that's on Game Pass, so it's for free. That's a nice Christmas present. Anyway, Mum and Dad don't know what to get us, but
Microsoft know what to get you, though.
Microsoft,
They're giving you free
Microsoft
stuff already.
I'm Connell, and what I want for Christmas is... what do I actually want for Christmas? I have no clue. I'll just say you, but you is probably out there somewhere, and I don't know who it is. But yeah.
It's okay, Connell.
casting call for Connell's partner.
Right, to kick off the festivities, we're first going to reflect, as always, on some previous picks, this time following a theme of 80s action films. This week, we're emphasising the cold in Cold War, as we watch Rocky train in Russia for his fourth outing. Ever wondered why they call it Boxing Day? We don't know why, but where there's boxing, there's Rocky, so this is technically a Christmas film.
What do people think of Big Trouble in Little China?
It's the most dad film that's ever been created.
Oh, yeah.
And it's phenomenal at the same time. Like, it's just... Your dad's always quoting it, and you don't blame him, do you? 'Cause that's what came to me first after watching it, is how quotable it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Flash Gordon, but for 80s dads instead of 60s dads.
Mm.
It's got the whole mad vibe about it. Just things don't stop happening every 2 seconds. You can't keep up. But unlike Flash Gordon, it's actually a good film.
Whoa, Flash
Controversial take there.
Gordon catching us straight. I mean, Jake, it was your suggestion.
It was my suggestion, so I'm trying to say it without bias, but it is one of my favourite films of all time. I've seen it thousands of times. I agree on it being quotable in the sense that it gets thrown into conversation whenever possible. If there's a chance to quote that film, I will not miss it. Kurt Russell is my hero, based entirely on that film, pretty much. I don't know if I'd say it's Carpenter's best, but it's definitely my favourite that he ever did. I love the score of it. I love the fact that it had such an influence on video games and various bits of pop culture, even if people don't realise it. And it's very underrated. It's very cult. It's very much my sort of thing. I have a bit of martial arts and a bit of Kurt Russell, and it's... Yeah, I just love it, and I'm glad that everybody else has now seen it and that it gets the love it deserves. So,
I thought it was absolutely mental, but I loved it. I couldn't really comprehend what I just watched by the end of it.
Yeah,
but all I knew is that it was good, and that definitely Kurt Russell changed his persona from McCree in The Thing. So,
other Carpenter film,
the other Carpenter Christmas film, if you say so.
There you go. Yeah,
because it is cold.
It's very cold. No,
so
yeah. No, I agree. I think it's cool to see the way that they worked so close together over a series of years, and he kind of went from being this, sort of generic badass 80s action hero in Escape from New York, and then in The Thing he's similar, but he's a bit more vulnerable, because it's that's more the whole human element where they're all bickering, and even though he tries to sort of take charge, there's still... It's you know what I mean? It's kind of
dysfunctional.
It's very dysfunctional. And in this, it kind of goes the entire opposite way, where it's even though he talks he knows what he's doing, and he talks with confidence, he has the swagger, the look, all the potential to be a generic 80s action hero. He's just useless, really. He's an idiot, and I think it's so funny because they don't really acknowledge anything that's going on as if it's abnormal to them. The rest of the characters totally are in on it, and it's just so funny watching them both trying to comprehend it and then trying to sort of play the hero, and generally failing miserably, apart from some occasions where he really does look really cool. But yeah, I love that about that character. I think it's really funny and it's really different for Kurt Russell. So yeah.
It's very different to the other action heroes of the 80s. You've got Arnie and what was it, Commando?
Yeah.
And then you've got Kurt Russell in that. It's just...
It's a totally different dynamic.
Contrast.
Yeah, it
it's
is.
Really good.
Well, because that's it. It's it doesn't really hide the fact that it feels very much like a proper Hong Kong martial arts film.
Yeah.
With an entire, that sort of cast, that kind of style, all the proper wires and choreography, and but then he's just there, really. So So they sort of throw in this weird John Wayne-esque trucker character, and it sounds like it shouldn't work, but then it really does, because he's sort of almost like an audience stand-in, but but at the same time he's just so full of like that sort of charisma and like charm. It's just like, it's really funny. So yeah.
I mean, my takeaway that I quite loved from it was Lopan, who is maybe he's one of the most bizarre villains I've ever seen in a film. Because he's just, for most of it, he's just an old man in a wheelchair who's just got the biggest gob on him ever. Like, he's just tormenting Jack Burton. He can't get a word in edgeways. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, agreed.
When he started segueing around, when he turned
when he starts floating. I mean, he's like, is he very like imposing? Because he gets killed by Jack Burton. A steak knife.
He's not really. I mean, they all hype him up, and you know, they have that whole thing where it's like everybody knows about him from the legend, and even when they come face to face, they're like, "Go fetch Lopan, get a real villain." And he's like, "I am Lopan." He's like sitting there all sort of folded up. But then when he's in his full look, full makeup with these mystical powers and everything, I think he can be. But it's because I think he's got the Storms as like his bodyguards. He doesn't really need to worry about any of that, which is why I quite like it when Egg Shen like actually confronts him, and it's like the sort of like a Anakin Obi-Wan thing where they're like old rivals and they know each other, and it's like, you never could beat me, Egg Shen, and they like fight like they're playing an arcade game, and it's like it's quite cool. But he's a great villain, and I think James Hong's fantastic as
that would have been cool to see, like, if they'd elaborated on the history between them. Like, I don't know if they did in any other sort of mediums. Like, I think you mentioned they did some comic sequels. I'm pretty
sure there's a comic sequel, or like a sort of Old Man Jack comic. I know there was rumours a while ago that they were going to do a sequel with The Rock, which I know, I mean, this was like 10 years ago when The Rock sort of had some credibility. The best way I think they could do it, though, I once read somebody suggested that they should do, picking up from the first film, Jack Burton still played by Kurt Russell, and The Rock is the furry creature just after he's been shaved. So it's like Kurt Russell and The Rock are like these sort of like buddy duo going round, and The Rock is just that. He's just the hairy monster.
In your like idea of this, they're not going to acknowledge Jack Burton aging 40 years. He's got like no hair, and he's still going to drive a truck.
Exactly.
I thought you were going to say it's Jack Burton but Wyatt Russell.
Oh yeah, which would be
he looks a bit like him.
He does. Right. I mean, Wyatt's got the look. I don't know if he's quite got the same sort of aura about him. Yeah, but it's potential. I think it would be quite hard to convince Carpenter, who's now just a grumpy old man, to do anything like that. But it's just when you said that as well. Big Trouble in Actual China. He like on his truck journey just ends up like going the wrong way, and he's like,
I'm imagining like Jack Burton getting sent through like Chinese history now, like because like the amount
Army
of
like, Darkness.
Like he's just stuck there in like the Three Kingdoms period where like everyone is fighting each other. Like every story is like a city was sacked, like 1 million peasants ended up dying, like just from the most random shit. And Jack Burton being there, like, what the fuck's going on? How do I get out of here?
This guy just killed 1 million peasants. Are you really okay with that?
People are looking at it as like what kind of hair would even like this 80s mullet? People
I
in
don't
like
know what it is.
80s mullet, years ago, Levi's jeans and like feudal period China or something like that. That'd be so funny.
The thing is, he's got a gun as well.
Yeah.
He would take on like 100 soldiers accidentally. People would probably like start worshipping as a god or something.
Just be like, well, that's how Army Darkness was supposed to go. Basically, just do the sequel that Evil Dead 2 led up to, just with Jack Burton instead.
Exactly.
Yeah, they'd be thinking he's got like a firework in a stick or something, or like or a wand or something. Boomstick.
Oh god. Do you have any other like Carpenter films you'd want to show? Maybe CineClub.
I don't know. It's tricky because I mean I feel like I like all of them, but I feel like that's one of the only ones where other people like The Thing. I would suggest, but I know it's already been done and everybody else has already seen The Thing. They Live, I was talking about with Steve, and he was saying I think they'd already done that. I like the idea of it, but maybe In the Mouth of Madness. Actually, I feel like that's another one that's really good that goes totally unrecognised, like because that's Sam Neill and that out of Jurassic Park, and I love Sam Neill as well. and it's like a really cool, like sort of cerebral horror film, but it like almost sort of parodies Stephen King books, and it's it's a really good film. But yeah, so maybe that.
What about The Fog though? That was alright.
The Fog was fantastic. That's another one. But you
Yeah.
guys have already seen it, so
but it's like even
it's a
then,
good one.
like,
Though, yeah.
We've got to spread the word.
Yeah,
That's all.
spread the
We
word.
should spread the word. There you go. Go watch The Fog. That's
what I feel like doing, like sat next to this microphone. You know what's it called in The Fog? The radio presenter.
Oh,
Stevie Wayne.
Stevie
Yeah.
Wayne. Stevie Wayne.
Yeah, so there you go.
John Carpenter likes his like radio people, doesn't he?
He does.
He loves people
He
saying,
does.
"This is da 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 on the da 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 da." You better like.
It's my favourite channel.
I
I listen to that every day.
It's the same. Stevie Wayne's she's the computer in The Thing as well. Because I think he was married to Adrienne Barbeau at the time, if I remember rightly. It was either her or Deborah Hill. Anyway, but she's in Escape from New York, but she's also in The Thing as the, when he's playing chess against the computer.
Yes, yeah,
The computer has the little sort of female voice. That's her, I think.
Oh my
so,
gosh.
There you go.
Oh my god.
He had a little group and they all just came together, sort of to collaborate. But yeah, there you go.
So, how's everyone feeling going into Rocky 4?
Never been this excited for anything in my life. I'm genuinely. I can't
you were
wait.
definitely being hyped before.
I've
we started
not
this.
shut up about the first 3 Rocky films since I've just.
That
since
is
I
They're
watched
good
them.
though, aren't they?
They're
Like,
really good.
It's
so
been yonks
good.
since I've seen
Yeah.
them, but I just remember them being great.
I think
Rocky 5 though.
Rocky 5 I've heard is a bit of a stinker, but Rocky 2 is, I think, one of the best films I've ever seen.
I think
It's really
it's
good.
one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah.
It gets totally
Yeah.
overlooked, really. Like it's so good. But I think it's because they're all so good. But each one kind of has like its own thing, which is why I think Rocky 4, even though I don't think it's the best, it's so in your face, so out there. It's impossible to forget. It's probably the most memorable one. And the most iconic one in pop culture, because I think Ivan Drago, Dolph Lundgren, everything about that is like quite well known now.
Yeah.
For a fourth film in a series, like for them to still be having that kind of credibility, it is impressive, and I'm very excited to see it.
I mean, the consistency in that series is like, from what I've seen, the first 3, like I was saying to Rhys earlier, I was worried about the third one because I was like, well, the first 2 were really good. And the third one, when I was looking at the cast, it said Hulk Hogan and Mr. T in it. I was just thinking, what is going on? But it's also really good.
It's still, I know that's it, because even though they have things like that, it still has that sort of deep moral meaning of like just this idea that he is an underdog and he's still, sort of fighting for it, and like he's training. I mean, he's tough as nails, but just that it humanizes him. I think the fact that he's like such a human character, he's got his family, and you get less of that as it goes on, but it's still, I mean, it's all 80s toxic masculinity, especially in Rocky 4. But
I mean,
but
even when you say that, there's a bit in, is it Rocky 2 where he's like, Adrian's like, I don't want you to fight, and he's like, let me be a man.
Yeah, let me
Then
be
it's like,
a man. Yeah, you can't
that when he's
stand
in
the
the
way of me
basement?
being a man.
I
He's
think
like-
so. I think
Yes.
it's in the basement, and it's like, that's kind of, it shows the time it was
Yeah.
from, doesn't it?
But then you get the other side of the coin. You get that great bit in Rocky 1 where he's the night before he's going to fight, and he's like holding on to Adrian, he's crying, he looks terrified.
It's great, that bit.
And that, I mean, actually, it's one of my favourite bits in the whole series is where he goes to the empty ring the night before in the first one, and he sees his big picture up on the wall, and he suddenly, like, you see in his face just how much it dawns on him in that moment how big this actually is. I just love him. He's just such a good character.
He's so likable.
Yeah.
He seems like everyone's friend. Like everyone's pal.
Yeah.
Like
They
you
all
walk
love
around
him.
Philadelphia in the film, right, with him. You walk around with him. Everyone's hey Rock, how you doing?
Yeah.
Like in real life, because you see Rocky so much, you get to know him so much, and like that, he's a great guy. He's got like a good heart. Everyone feels like they could see him walking down the street and go, "Oh, hi Rock, how you doing?"
Yeah,
like,
you don't want anything bad to happen to him. It's like when they're chucking like fruit to him in the market when he's running through the train. Just the fact everybody's like so so nice.
Yeah, he's just like, that's what's like the most lovable about Rocky. I think that he's got heart and like soul.
Yeah,
Compared to like people like Clubber Lang who are just doing it for their own personal gain. Really.
Yeah, he's doing it because he's genuinely passionate.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really want to for the sake of his family and stuff, but wants I think that's why Rocky 2 works so well, because it's like that idea that like, oh, you know, maybe I can be more than this, but then it's like he's sort of forced back into it, but then he realizes, no, there's a reason I'm so good at this. Like, there's a reason that this is the main thing I want to do, because he is just that good. He's just that guy.
He is that guy.
He's that guy.
He's so good.
I love him.
He's just a chill guy.
He's literally me.
You mentioned Clubber Lang, Rhys.
Clubber Lang, yes.
Yeah, what's everyone's thoughts on Clubber Lang?
I mean, it's Mr. T playing
it's
Mr.
just Mr.
T,
really.
Like, there's
He's
not
got
much.
unironically some of my favourite lines in the films.
Yeah.
Like Rocky 1 and 2 have got like some really emotional lines, but nothing's going to be funnier than Mr. T shouting, "Get away from me, sucker," and then getting the life knocked out of him.
It's the fact he's so mean to everyone.
He is,
like
yeah.
Apollo Creed tries to be nice to him, he's just like a dick to him.
Yeah.
And you know, he's trying to chat up Adrian.
That is the worst thing. When Rocky's right next to him.
Right, and Rocky's standing
my
right
God.
there.
Like,
and it's
proper
like,
gets on everyone's- You know what?
does.
If he was an animal, he would be a honey badger.
Right.
If anyone knows what they are.
I mean,
Well, honey
what's
badger.
the
Honey
honey
badger.
badger?
Well,
The honey badger
honey
fan.
badger, for those at home, it's this
I pity
animal.
the fool who takes my honey.
It's like a badger, but evil. Basically, it will start a fight with any animal.
Really?
People have seen like lions like pawing at these things, and it'll just keep coming.
It'll
It
just,
does not stop.
claw
Its
away,
fur
like-
is that like thick that it can take scratches and bites from like the biggest predators on the planet and just keep going.
That's
and it,
mental.
like more often than not, by like pure intimidation factor, despite being like a little foot tall rodent, it wins these like stare-offs basically just by running at
Just
things
by
and
running
not
at
stopping.
them, wow.
Yeah.
And that's him. He's proper like Wolverine energy. Just
He
being-
is, yeah, because he just, he's just rage all the time. charging.
Exactly.
Even, doesn't he, like, he picks a fight with the press as well?
Yeah,
and they're,
he does,
trying-
like,
he's like,
slams
get
the
out
cameras.
of here, like, yelling at the press people, like, fighting the cameras. Like, he should not be, like, street legal. Like,
Yeah.
he just looks like he could, like, kill anyone at a moment's notice.
he looks like, just look at him.
He's
Look
just-
at the jacket he's got
He's
on.
got, like,
It's just
he's
so
got a
Mr.
strangely,
T,
like,
though, isn't it?
good
It's so
sense of
funny.
fashion, I
Yeah.
think, for
Yeah.
what he is.
It's mad.
Like you'd expect him to just be like in a tank top the whole
Yeah.
time, but no, he's wearing like turtlenecks and that.
He
Like
looks really cool.
something else I feel about him, right? He's such a ball of rage
Yeah.
that if he was talking to you and he was like raging at you, if you spun him round to face someone else, he'd just start raging at them
He
without
just
a
starts
second
thinking
thought.
about- yeah, you wouldn't think about
like,
it, yeah.
He just can't exist without someone to fight, which is I think what makes him interesting as a character. Like he prides himself on being able to beat people, whereas Apollo Creed like prides himself on being able to like meet his own expectations and that.
Yeah.
He's like
Which is the whole point of it,
yeah,
really.
Yeah.
like a mirror of Rocky in that way. Clubber Lang's more of just like a brute force obstacle for him to fight.
Yeah.
And it does mix up the format a bit. Because all the Rocky films are, he's got to fight a tough guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's the difference in the tough guys that makes them interesting and unique, I think.
Yeah, like Apollo Creed wouldn't kill him, would he?
No,
'Cause he's got
no.
the moral,
No,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
moral
He's got
sense
the
not to.
moral
Clubber
code,
Lang's
like-
I'm gonna batter your head in.
Exactly.
And that's
Well,
why
yeah.
he's so like interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and I think I like the fact that it gradually moves from like, well, it doesn't really gradually move. It's more the fact that like, even though he's got all these opponents, the real opponent that Rocky faces is himself. It's like,
Yeah.
and I think you get a lot of that in Rocky 3, where it's like this idea that it's his confidence and the sort of, you know, he's concerned and he's like, it's, you know, it is all quite human that it's like he can't
Yeah.
do it because he just worries that he can't anymore. And then sort of Rocky 4 moves that more to like this whole, well, vengeance, honouring people, that kind of thing, which is, and it's got a similar idea. It's just, I mean, but then obviously that one, the whole thing, it's like a Cold War allegory. So
Yeah.
it's yeah.
He's kind of got to fight. He's got
to fight. Well, that's what it's like.
Rocky.
Rocky 4 is borderline propaganda, but
Yeah.
it's like, but it's so funny because it's like it's a borderline propaganda shot like an MTV music video. Peak 1985, Survivor, all of the different like hair metal motivational music in it. It sort of builds off what Rocky 3 started and takes it to the full extreme, and you know, it works for some people, it doesn't work so well for others. I really like it, but
I would
Yeah.
say that, like, given from a person who has seen all the Rockies before, despite being a while ago, you will see the stark contrast of, like, an opponent from Clubber Lang to Drago,
Right.
because Clubber Lang may be intimidating just by being like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
right, you know,
Yeah.
I'm big and that, But Ivan Drago is just like, I don't know, he's just terrifying
He's
because
like
of
a
him being
machine,
silent. Like, you know,
Just
think of him, like, I thought straight away when I saw him, he's like a Terminator.
Yeah.
Just in boxing
he
form.
does. He's like sent from the future to kill Rocky Balboa. Just the way he looks, though, it's like he just like stares at everyone. It's like he's got that sort of...
And he's tall as hell.
He's tall as hell, and the fact that he's like always surrounded by all these like guards and people like wiring up the machines, and it's like... It's great. He's a great character, but like, I'm very excited to see Rocky Fall. It's going to be awesome.
I think a big difference in the way the villains and all the characters really are made is like their physicality. Because as you said, like Ivan Drago is like a tall tower of a man who just does not speak and is terrifying because of that.
Yeah.
Whereas Clubber Lang's terrifying because, as I said, he's a honey badger. Like he does take 1,000,000 punches in this, and he just doesn't stop coming. And the only way Rocky's able to beat him is by tiring him out. Yeah, like. They've all got the different fighting styles. Creed he's very like light on his feet despite his weight. He's quite like punchy, quite like jab.
Oh yeah, Creed like dances about and stuff, and they all have that sort of like that tells, I guess, where it's like it's quite cool.
I hadn't thought about that actually. That's quite interesting. Yeah, how they've all got the different. I mean, even like Mickey mentioned it, doesn't he? He's like, oh, it's a southpaw sort of thing.
Yeah, and they make like a really big point out of that, but. Yeah, I mean, obviously it'd probably mean more if I knew a bit more about boxing, but you can still tell the way they use it in the sort of narrative of the film, where it's like you can tell visually like how each one of them has different styles, and it sort of matches up to their characters. Because, you know, Creed, he jumps about and he gets into it, but that's because that's kind of what he's like. He's like a showman, like he has that sort of... The way he always comes out in like the American sort of Uncle Sam looking outfits, and he's like this sort of general... like concept that he's like standing for like American values, and he's like, and it's so exaggerated, and I mean the best one's definitely Rocky IV, so you know, look forward to that. But it is quite cool the way they do that. So
Rocky's really got to change his fighting style as well in Rocky 3. I think that's interesting to see, because Rocky 1 and 2 he trains specifically to fight Creed. He's all about throwing these big heavy punches. And then in Rocky 3, we see him training with Creed to be like Creed.
Yeah.
As someone who can dodge about and be Rocky's opponent, really.
Yeah, totally. I think the only thing that I never buy watching Rocky films is how he doesn't just get battered, because he never blocks. His head just gets welted. Literally every punch, he basically takes it straight to the face, and it never seems to faze him. But well, I think Creed makes a joke about that. I can't remember if I think it's Rocky 4. Or he's like, everybody knows he's got a head of stone. Nobody knows that better than me. And he's like sort of saying like, it's just like absolutely just gets rocked to bits. But yeah, might be Rocky 3 actually. But anyway,
it's when he's in the commentary.
When he's in when he's doing the commentary in Rocky 3, I can sort of all blend together a bit. So, with Christmas season fast approaching, don't worry, we didn't forget this is the Christmas special. Seriously, where did the year go? We figured we'd take a moment to highlight some of our favourite Christmas films. Matthew, I believe you wanted to go first.
I was going to go with Jingle All the Way, because it's maybe the most, in terms of what I quote, every Christmas. I think I'm quoting it every day, whether it's around the house. I'm getting grief for it. My mum's always going, like, will you stop mentioning cookies? Because you've got the film. It's just the most quotable film I've ever seen in my life. And Arnold as the main character, I'm convinced he's a lunatic. So that's why it's my favourite.
He plays... the two most unbelievable things about that film are the fact that he doesn't, actually end up in prison or with no family. And the fact that he's called Howard.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like that, like Arnie, humongous Austrian crazy guy.
Howard.
He's like, Howard. It's just like a family man who works at... What does he work? Is he like a mattress salesman or something weird like that?
Something on the phone.
He's on the phone.
Yeah.
I swear
you're my number one customer.
Yeah, you're my number one customer. I swear it's mattresses. I could be wrong. I can't remember.
Selling mattresses.
Email us. Let us know. We can't remember if he's a mattress salesman. What does Howard do in Jingle All the Way? What is his job other than trying to get a turbo?
Other than being a horrible father.
Mattress.
Other than being horrible, yelling at Anakin Skywalker.
It's actually like probably between 3, which is like a lot, but it's either Die Hard, of course, because that is a Christmas film. Fighters, if you think it's not. Not really. The Grinch, or like how the Grinch
Jim
the Jim Carrey one, of course. And what was my other one? Home Alone 2 in specific. I just find 2 better than the first.
I can't argue with that. I agreed. Home Alone 2's if I've not got enough time to watch both of them, I'll watch 2 because it's just funnier.
It's just funnier. It's like when Marv like is getting the bricks chucked off. I had an absolute laughing fit the first time I saw that.
The entire third act of Home Alone 2 is like some of the most you'll ever laugh at a film. I think Christmas or not, it's just downright hilarious. It's brilliant.
Take a shot, everyone. Someone should be dead.
Every time
you will be dead by the end.
But then you forget Rocky. I think Harry and Marv have the toughest heads on planet Earth. They survive all of that abuse, and they still come out of it and then end up back in prison.
Poor stuntman.
Exactly.
Actually got bricks thrown off their heads.
They
got Sylvester Stallone in there. That scene.
That happened to be 10 minutes.
I don't know why I'm here. This Macaulay Culkin bricks at me. Yeah, those, I mean, Die Hard and Home Alone 2 would be up there for me as well, probably. I mean, I like a good weird one. I feel like Gremlins is always one I look forward to.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not so horror film that it's like, it's more like a sort of cartoon horror film, even though my parents wouldn't let us watch it when they were kids because they thought they ate people for some reason. They were like, you can't eat gremlins. You can't watch gremlins because they eat people. Yeah, exactly.
Don't eat them
I just remember that. I just remember them saying that, but not Gremlins 2. They let us watch Gremlins 2. They just said you can't watch Gremlins 1 because they eat people. I was like, okay. So yeah, it was anyway. But I watched the first one like every year now because it's a classic. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Nobody else, I don't think, has seen it.
I have been fighting for my life trying to find somewhere to watch it. Yeah,
that is my one that gets quoted every year without fail. It'll always be, I mean, just everything about it. I mean, Chevy Chase, he's scum, but like he's hilarious in that film.
The
Everyone
the Christmas
in that
tree
film
has me in stitches.
Oh, it's essential viewing.
Yeah.
Which is it when they cut the Christmas tree and it comes out and smashes all the windows?
No, I'm on about when he's talking about the Christmas tree.
I mean, even that's like there's like 3 different hilarious scenes just to do with the Christmas tree just from when you said that. But that bit's great, the way he just winds the neighbours up constantly. But yeah, strongly recommended. I think you should all watch that. Rhys, what about you?
I think mine are all the Charles Dickens ones. Like,
culture.
I'm not going to go as obscure as like 1950s Christmas Carol or something like that, but like the Jim Carrey one, the animated one,
that's a good
brilliant film. Yeah. It's got the heart, it's got the soul. Muppets Christmas Carol, obviously, that needs an essential mention. That is essential viewing for Christmas.
Yeah.
I also really like Oliver Twist.
All right.
Is that a Christmas film, Oliver Twist?
No, but it's Charles Dickens.
It's one of those ones where it's like what me and Billy were talking about, where it falls into that sort of Wizard of Oz, Paddington niche where it's like you associate it with Christmas because it always seems to end up on telly around Christmas. So it's like, I think I would start to
associate Star Wars with Christmas now. So.
Yeah, it's like, I associate Star Wars.
Where's this going to end? Yeah. Rocky's Christmas now, Star Wars is Christmas.
Yeah, no, it is.
Everything as long as it's got a tree in it.
Yeah, Spider-Man, I think also because of No Way Home. But if it depends, if it came out in December, I think that's why I associate it with. So like that's where the Star Wars thing came from, because all 3 of those came out like November, December. So it would always then put us in like a Star Wars mood over Christmas. So I think because of that, and there is quite a few like that. But yeah, Wizard of Oz. I mean, they've done that again because Wicked's just come out. So there you go. It's similar idea.
Well, it looks like that's all the Christmas cheer we have time for. And don't forget, you can get in touch with us at cineclub.podcast@sparksunderland.com. Tell us about your favourite Christmas films. And more importantly, remember to light the lamp, not the rat.
After the Christmas break, we'll be back with more episodes of the podcast that's not just for Christmas, it's for life.
It's very cheerful. It's very, very Christmassy. And as always, this episode was recorded and produced by us, the Sunderland University students, and edited by Sophie Wright-Proctor. Special thanks to Steve Cannon, Barbara Sadler, and Richard Berry. A reminder that our 4 elves this week have consisted of me, Connell,
me, Matthew,
me, Rhys,
and me, Jake. This has been a CineClub production for Spark. Thanks for listening, and Merry Christmas.